In the text line, the area code 419, love the 419. Couple of interesting things today, guys. The AAC is working with Cincinnati, UCF, and Houston to have an exit strategy soon. Other conferences are looking not having divisions. After thinking about it, by the way, it maybe does make sense. One division champ unbeaten, the other has 2 losses. 2-loss team wins the championship. Really diminishes the chances of either getting into the college football playoff, and that's always been one of the problems, of course, even before there was the college football playoff. And so the exit strategy of the American wanting to move on, the Big 12 wanting to add, and eventually, of course, that will include both Texas and Oklahoma with whatever their future will be when they leave and depart for the SEC.
Look, I like the idea of no divisions. I like it. Rotate the schedule around, and kind of Mike Craig mentioned yesterday, the NFL has a pretty good schedule model that you get to pretty much, play everybody every 4 years or 5 years or so. You work your way through the league and, make sure you preserve the rivalries. And other than that, especially in this new Big 12, there's, the new teams aren't going to have any rivalries at all outside of the, what they maintain with their non-conference. So, why not do it that way? I mean, like, what would be the downside?
Yeah, I don't know
if there's a perfect way.
I don't think there's like a perfect way. I don't know. I don't get as into the divisions and things like that as other people seem to. It's not as of interest to me, how they break it down. Like I said yesterday, as long as the teams play each other on a regular basis, I really don't care how they line them up. Like, there's certain things, like maintain certain rivalries. Like, I don't think Baylor and TCU need to be in opposite divisions. I don't think if Texas and Oklahoma are a part of it, that they need to be in opposite divisions. I think those are very obvious. Cincinnati, West Virginia don't need to be in opposite divisions. Like if you're relatively close. Whatever rivalries you're trying to maintain those. But in terms they go northwest to southwest or north to south or east to west, I don't care. Like, just keep the pods together that you need to and then build around it that way. Call it whatever you want to, American and National or East and West or South and North. But yeah, I mean, I like that they're going to work on it, but and I like seeing the people who have the different ideas. I do. It's just not something that I sit and kind of think about like, man, what could the divisions look like? I just want to see teams play on a regular basis and avoid being A&M and you don't go to Athens until you've been in the SEC for like 10 years already. Yeah. I think that's just sort of silly.
You would think that would be easier to do and the algorithms and all of that.
But I think if you should play every one of these new 4 teams at their home place, within a reasonable amount of time, like within the first 8 years, or even sooner than that. If you can do, I guess you could do it sooner than that, actually. And, don't drag it out over a 10-year period where, TCU's first trip to Cincinnati is like 9 years down the road. That's really where my focus lies in terms of the divisions and the rest of it. However it falls, I think I'll probably be okay with it, so long as they maintain those things that I mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like with the college football playoff. It's kind of like with overtime. There are things that I think sometimes we probably want to like, no, or yes, or this is great, or no. I don't really know if there's a perfect thing for any of them.
We don't have to have a hot sports opinion on every single thing and have to have like this is the way it is, and if it's not this way, it's not, like, I think there's too much of that. And so like there's certain things that's just like, okay, cool. If they do it that way, cool. If they don't, then cool. But like, show me a way. Now, if they were to, are you talking about scrapping divisions, period? If the Big 12 were to do that, or just the American does that? Are you asking
this was from the 419 that the American Conference is starting to kind of work with the others leaving with an exit strategy, but also it was just an opinion on him on what we've talked about before.
Well, I do agree.
Whether there should be divisions.
I do agree that sometimes divisions do get very boring because you get one division that's in a rut and they have one team that just sits there and kind of beats the mess out of the rest of the teams, and the other division's got like 4 teams that are all that level.
It's the SEC East or the erstwhile Big 12 North. I mean, the Big 12 North for a while was Nebraska. I mean, and Colorado would sneak up there sometimes and do that, and Nebraska, Kansas State, but it was really just Nebraska, and so I think that to me, like, I think if you eliminate divisions, it gets out of this. The scheduling I don't like is where you don't play teams in your conference.
Yeah,
like we had the example yesterday of Indiana and Illinois don't play each other anymore, and the states border each other, for crying out loud. Like, Let's make that happen more often. It didn't have to be all the time. I get there's 14 teams or some conference are going to have 16 teams or whatever. You can't play everybody every year, but you could get closer than every 9.
It'd be impossible to I guess in this new format with 14 teams, you're not going to worry as much about a rematch because you can't play everybody else. But I liked the way it worked out in the Big 12 this year. I mean, I know it was a rematch, but that's what's going to happen, and that's what's happened with their 10-team slate. And I had no problem with the rematch. The rematch was pretty damn good for any hand-wringing about, they've already played before, and Oklahoma State already beat them. Well, that's why you play again and see what happens that second time around. And the divisions or the no divisions led to that. If you had divisions, you wouldn't have had that rematch most likely, or you wouldn't have had it because you had divisions, right? So unless they were on opposite sides, and then in theory it could have happened. But I think the no division thing is appealing as well because you get the actual top 2 teams. You don't get the top team in the North and the top team in the South, the top team in the East, you get the 2 top teams, and that does appeal to me, that no divisions, that you just get the 2 simply best teams no matter what.
Andy Staples today. Thanks to Rod Webb for sending this to me just now on the text line. 254-339-1122. Your thoughts about, and you don't have to have one, but your thoughts about what and how do you lean one way or the other when it comes to divisions? There was a story 2 or 3 weeks ago that got some chatter, CBS Sports, on how the Big 12 might be formed as far as divisions, and we had a lot of those at least scenarios back when everything got to the expansion stage in sometime in September. But it seems like with the Big Ten, what they're thinking, among others, you never know. He's kind of, again, one of the things that divisions created, why they were created, because conferences grew. You had 12, you had 14, or you had how many others without any doubt. And one of the things about wanting a conference championship game is that you had to have a certain amount of teams. And then if you didn't, you have to get a waiver. And so you want the championship game, which I don't know if I'm a fan of those or not, but if I was the one getting part of the money, I sure would be. And that's what they do. They provide money with the championship games with ESPN and whoever else carries them.
That's the other thing I've seen people debating on the value of the conference championship game and whether they're even worth having in some cases, and as it comes to the college football playoff as well, like risking that team getting knocked out. We've been talking about that for years, though. The team that has a chance, like a K-State back in the day, but they play in a Big 12 title game and get knocked out. And, did that help or hurt the conference ultimately, that their best bet for a championship got knocked out in a conference championship game? So I'm sure that debate will continue as well. I don't think I'm for eliminating conference championship games. If you're going to do that, you'd have to give me a better playoff.
Well, and look, if you're going to go to 12 and you're worried about your best team getting knocked out, the point of going to 12 is variety, so your best team getting knocked out is certainly variety. Yeah. So it certainly adds that. So that adds.
Well, that can happen. Even divisions are not right.
Yeah. So, but I mean that. I don't think that the 12-team playoff should be about protectionism of the top. I think that's what we've been doing now. So the 12-team playoff should be about everybody's best chance to get in the playoff. And if the number 2 team in the country messes around and gets knocked off in the championship game and has a rough patch at the end of the season, well, yeah, maybe one of the best teams is sitting home, but boo-hoo. We have 12-team playoffs. We're going to have a playoff. It doesn't matter. Just using the NFL by comparison, the top seeds in the NFC are all gone, right? Does that make Sunday worse? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. No. And the idea that it does somehow...
Well, who are the best teams in the NFL prior to last weekend? Who do we think were the top 3 or 4 teams?
Well, yeah, we have the Packers and, the
1 and 2 seeds both lost.
Yeah, the Packers and Bucks are both out, so the top 3 seeds in the NFC are out, the Packers, Bucks, and Cowboys.
Yeah, no.
Does that make it worse? No.
And the NFL thrives off of that. Yeah. It thrives off the Giants getting hot at the end of the year, getting to the playoffs, knocking off the number 1 seed Cowboys, who had played them twice in, 2007, and they go on to beat the Patriots, the unbeaten Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's kind of not a Cinderella March Madness, but it's somewhat. You have one, but like the 49ers are a red-hot team.
But it still could be a 4 seed getting to the Final Four.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we love that in college basketball, but the idea of it in college football for a lot of people is like, but then it'd be bad. Is it? No, it's not.
Happy day today, Thursday, to all of you, ladies, gentlemen, and bots. We appreciate you being a part of the chat room as well. YouTube.